I used to work at Walmart as a cashier several years ago. I was in school at the time, so I usually was part-time and worked on nights or weekends. One day, I was working on a Saturday from sometime in the afternoon to about 10 o'clock at night. Those were the hours that I usually got. It was a pretty typical shift with us being very busy and me getting a lot of customers through my lane. At one point, a man came into my lane and bought a wireless speaker. It was one of the more expensive ones that we had, and I think it was over $100. When the man saw the total, he complained immediately, saying that the item was on sale and it should have been half off. I looked and saw that the item was clearly not on sale, but to satisfy the man, I even called up someone from the electronics department. My coworker David came up to the lane and confirmed that the item was not on sale and hadn't ever been on sale since we had it. The man was clearly making it up to try to get a discount, and after my line was held up for over 5 minutes because of him, he continued to complain and refused to pay. I told the man if he didn't want to buy the speaker, he would have to leave my lane because there were lots of other customers waiting. He kept on complaining and started to get personal with me. Generally, I consider myself to be a patient guy and always tried my best to be nice and respectful to the customers. But something about this guy, from the very second he started complaining, he was just so rude. When he started saying I was an idiot, I told him to leave. This only provoked him even more, and after cursing at me, the man finally left. I was so happy that he was finally gone, and even though it was a negative experience, I was happy to now deal with more normal customers. I kept working, and several hours later, when it was now nighttime, I looked up to see that in line was the same guy from before. He had a somewhat long beard and wore a hat and sunglasses with a red sweatshirt, just like he had been before. I got a bad feeling when I saw him in line with an angry look on his face. I dreaded when it would be his turn in line, and when it was, I looked to see that he didn't appear to be buying anything. He just walked up to me and said to me, "You didn't think I would come back here, did you?" I didn't say anything. The man then said that I better start watching my back, and then just walked off. I was very surprised at the lengths this man was going to show his anger with me. But what could I do? I was glad I didn't say anything back to the man, even though I wanted to, but I kept it professional. My shift went for another hour or so, and then I was finally done. It was a long day, and I was excited to get back home and relax. I left the store, which was now pretty quiet, and walked to my car in the back corner of the parking lot where I always parked. As I was approaching my car, I heard someone yell at me from about 30 feet to my left. I looked over and saw the same guy. He immediately cursed at me and started walking towards me from a car parked behind a tree to the right. I didn't really have time to say or do anything before I saw the man was coming towards me. This prompted me to start running to my car. I then heard the man begin to run as well, which made me go even faster. I made it inside my car and locked it and started the engine. The man kicked at the side of my door pretty hard as I started to back away. I drove away as fast as I could, and thankfully he wasn't able to get back to his car to follow me before I was out of his sights. I went home, and when I got there I saw that there was a dent in the side of my car where the man had kicked at me. I couldn't believe how angry the man was and how he literally waited for me to get off of work. The next day I went back to Walmart and told them everything that happened. I quit my job, and thankfully Walmart offered to pay for my car to get fixed. This story takes place 2 summers ago when I worked at Walmart just for the summer. I usually stocked shelves and worked late nights. I only worked about 2 nights a week, but it was a good way to make some extra money. The Walmart I worked at wasn't in the nicest of areas though. We would occasionally have shoplifters, and just weird and crazy things happened throughout the store in the short time that I worked there. It's more of a reason I was glad just to be stocking shelves late at night and not really dealing with the customers a lot. Anyways, one night I was doing what I usually did, which was taking products out of boxes and placing them on the shelves. I was near the canned goods when I received a call on my walkie from someone saying my name. I asked how I could help. They told me they needed me in the receiving area to help unload a truck. This is something that I would occasionally do, so it was nothing really that new. I walked through the quiet aisles of the store to the back, and then into the back room. I got out to the area where the trucks would back into. But when I got there, the truck I saw wasn't a normal big semi-truck. It was a smaller one. It was still a truck, but it was just a lot smaller. I had never seen that type of truck deliver anything to us before, but I walked out anyways. I saw someone come out of Walmart behind me with a walkie in their hand. They said, "Thanks for helping me with this." But it was nobody that I recognized at all who worked there. There were a lot of employees, however, so I figured he must be new. He had a smile on his face, but then it disappeared as he saw the confused look on mine. I asked what he needed help with. The man then got to the truck and unlocked the back himself. He told me to hop in and get some merchandise from the back. That was when red flags started going off in my head. I didn't go any closer to the truck, but just stayed put. That's when the man started to nudge me from behind. He caused me to move a couple of steps forward, but I wasn't going to let him push me into the truck. I started to see there appeared to be nothing really at all in the back of the truck, and that's when I suddenly took off. I was fast enough to get away from the man, who then turned and chased after me. I was decently fast and made it back inside the store okay. Then I ran as far to the front as I could where there was more people. At that point, the man turned and left back out of the store. I let another employee know what had happened, and soon after, the police were called. The men were long gone, but they did find several videos of them on surveillance. I'm not really sure if they were ever found, but I know I'm glad I was able to escape them. This story takes place last summer. I was at Walmart pretty early one Saturday morning, which was a common time for me to do my shopping. I got there and began my shopping, and was happy to see that the store wasn't too busy yet. I pushed my cart around the store, and it slowly filled up with mainly groceries. When I was in the frozen pizza aisle, I noticed that I was hearing a noise from behind me as if someone was there. Obviously, that's not weird at all, but when I would look in the direction, nobody would ever be there. The same thing happened for a few minutes later in another aisle. It was sort of strange, but overall not that big of a deal to me, and I kept on shopping. Finally, I got to the far back corner of the store where they had some dairy products such as eggs, milk, and cheese. I was buying some eggs when I heard another noise. This time, it sounded like it was coming from above me. I looked to my left and saw part of the ceiling was lifted up and a man was sticking his head out of it staring at me. I was totally freaked out, and this was about the last thing that I was expecting to see. The man then stuck his head back into the ceiling. The whole thing was really alarming to me. After that, I walked over and found someone who worked there and told them that I had just witnessed a man who was in the ceiling. They didn't believe me at first, but after I explained it to them, they went and got another worker, and we went to the area. We saw where the tile in the ceiling was slightly crooked. Eventually, they called other employees over, and it became a whole thing. A lot of people asked me about what I had seen. Eventually, they went up into the ceiling and looked, but the man was never found. I think that some people didn't believe me, but I know what I saw clear as day. I don't know who that guy was or what he was doing, but he seemingly went up into the ceiling and just disappeared.